Hello, friends, and it is Bible study time again. Now, we are in the NIV, but I wanted to, because we finished Luke, we're done with that chapter. We are on to the Gospels of John, and I wanted to share something that was shared with me, just today, because I never really thought about it. But it is true of all things. When something is being written, or whether that's music or it's painting, any form of art, really, something being composed in some fashion, because all of art is composed. There's a narrative. There's always a narrative. The other Gospels are for people who aren't already Christian. They're more or less like, here's why you should join our religion. Whereas for John is, if you already are, here's how we strengthen you. Let these words be your guide. Let it be. So it's a different vibe to it. It's not surface. It's a deeper kind of thing. So I wanted to briefly explain that before we jump into chapter and verse. So we're going to start at 19, but verses 1 through 18 is really about sort of like a recap of Genesis. Like in the beginning, there was the Word, and that's very much that's in the beginning of Genesis, and it talks about how Christ was sent here to walk with man, and how they sent John the Baptist first to speak, but John the Baptist confused the Pharisees. He's not claiming to be the Messiah, so they can't kill him according to their laws, because he's not claiming to be something he's not. And yet he's still proceeding with doing the baptism as if he has the authority to do so, because he feels like he has the authority to do so. And as we eventually get to see from the other Gospels, when he baptizes Jesus, we discover he does indeed have the authority to do so. His own belief and faith in his authority to do so is really what ends up, as it is for all people, giving him the authority to do so. So we're going to start at 19 here, and we're going to go to 28. Okay? And this passage here is called John the Baptist Denies Being the Christ. Now this was John's testimony when the Jews of Jerusalem sent priests and Levites to ask who he was. He did not fail to confess, but confessed freely, I'm not the Christ. When they asked him, well, who are you then? Are you Elijah? He answered, I am not. Are you the prophet? He answered, no. Now, remind you, the prophet for them is the person who can wield the Ark of the Covenant. Now, there's a lot of stuff out there who, in different societies and stuff, who, with breastplates and masons and, like those types of peoples, with those, the breastplate of Aaron and all that stuff. But if you actually go back and you read the Old Testament, all the Levite priests are doing is physically carrying the already activated ark. Independent confirmation in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear the beeps. That's just something we do over here. Any unexpected noise is an independent confirmation. They just carry. They're not activating it. Aaron doesn't speak directly to God, not once. The only time he's talking directly to God is if he's standing next to Moses, because he calls him to carpet on more than one occasion in front of Moses. He doesn't just, without Moses, go get Aaron on his own. Aaron, while being a psychic, just like their younger sister Miriam, they were not in alignment with the Lord, so they couldn't talk to the Lord directly. They just had the ability to see that frequency or hear that frequency in the first place. So prophet has got a very specific definition to them. It's not just, anything. It means that God is talking directly to you, and prophets have been the people they've been choosing to be the judges over Israel in the Old Testament. That's who they're going through. And sometimes they were even prophetesses. Okay? So that idea that it had to be one gender or another was not necessarily the case, and not always how it was chosen. That is, as with all isms, it is a choice that one makes in the moment. He answered, no. Finally, they said, who are you? Give us an answer to take back those who sent us. What do you say about yourself? John replied in the words of Isaiah the prophet, I am the voice of one calling in the desert, make straight the way for the Lord. Now some Pharisees who had been sent to question him, why then do you baptize if you are not the Christ, nor Elijah, nor the prophet? He's completely confused because he's not falling in line with any of their, there's this crazy person claiming to be the Messiah in the desert thought processes that are going on there. Because to them, he's a rabble rouser, and they're not sure why. I baptize with water, John replied, but among you stands one you do not know. He is one who comes after me, the thongs of whose sandals I am not worthy to untie. This all happened at Bethany, on the other side of the Jordan, where John was baptizing. So he's running around telling the Pharisees, like a judge, telling the Pharisees all the ways that they are doing things wrong. All the ways they're not actually following the laws, all the ways that they're corrupt. He's screaming against the man, right? He's doing all that kind of stuff. And he's a crazy guy in the desert with a belief, a complete belief in the fact that not only is the Messiah real, he's here. He's here right now. He's here right now. I can feel him. And we're just waiting for him to show his stuff. So I'm just here doing the pre-work. He's like Jesus' PR guy. Out there in the field doing the work first. This is a little bit like what being a minister is like. That's why I literally live in the desert. So for me, I very much so identify with this particular biblical figure. Because throughout my entire life with my professional career in the mechanical engineering design side of the world, I often encounter people who want to place me in one category or another, pigeonhole me in some way or another, tell me where my limitations are. And I often do not stay in the little compartmentalized box that they want to put me in, because I simply don't belong there. There's a song that I particularly like. It's called "'Cause I Am." I can't remember who the name of the artist was, but it's a female country singer. If you know it, go ahead and stick it down in the comments. But it's to me it's a beautiful song because it falls in line with that same kind of thing. And that must be very much how John the Baptist felt. Like he was probably just completely confused by these people, why they thought they didn't have, like he didn't already have the authority, like anybody does wouldn't have this authority, and like you needed something more than your faith to get where you needed to be. So it must have been very confusing for him when he's encountering these various people with these various words. But in that song, it's if I seem too complicated for you, it's because I am. Don't worry today if you're too complicated for other people. That's their problem. If you know that you've got your head down doing the work that you know you're supposed to do, it's not about what anybody thinks of you. Your work stands for itself. And if they don't like what you're saying, well, maybe you two just don't vibe, and you two should stay apart from each other. Don't go after them. Don't act like they're acting. But, Tell them the truth and move along your merry way, because the truth shall always set you free. Let's be good to each other out there today.